All right, welcome to this series of sales dashboards using CP4L Business Intelligence Solutions. In this series, I will be talking about everything related to sales dashboards and sales optimization. And this is the kind of dashboard that you could, there's a lot of tabs that here we have in terms of the KPIs and the separate KPIs and the trend over time. This is one of my favorite, and I spend a lot of time here trying to really figure out how the trend is moving over time. And what I really like about this report is that it allows me to select from a subset of different KPIs that are really important to my business. Say that I want to know what is my accessory attach rate, and then I can select here the period and then just see that movement over time. And this is the flexibility of a business intelligence reporting that goes beyond Excel, because you're moving from a static structure to a dynamic one where you're able to slice and dice the data, and then you're able to see a lot of different things. And so I want to see my accessory attach rate in a specific location, or I want to do that in a specific type, stores that I've acquired or organic stores, a specific state or a specific class. And I want to see how my attach rate, is the team improving their attach rate? And as they're improving the attach rate, are we losing ground on our accessory margins? And how is that movement moving over time compared to the two? And then there's so many variables, there are so many KPIs that you could look and track. And this is kind of really one of the exciting things that you see is that the APO movement at the beginning of the year from January 2022, $38 until like August 57. You'll see here a steady movement. In part, there's really a lot of reasons for it, for this kind of improvement, largely due to the activities and the focus of our sales director and our leadership and the frontline employees. But they would not have been able to do it without the ability to view and have reporting and be able to have the right product at the right time. And so this is what you could expect from your business intelligence solution, allowing you the ability to look at, and how is that APO increasing? Is it because you're charging more on average per accessory? At the beginning of the year it was $24 and now it's $27. So only $3. You could see here that it was largely due to improvement in accessory attach rate. And then there's really a bunch of stuff here. Gross profit per box, for example, is a measure that we like to focus on and use. And then you could see that movement over time changing. And then if you want to look at your activation percent and how that is changing over time, you're also able to do that as well. There's a bunch of other KPIs that we like to use. For example, I like using the SFPO, or service fees per opportunities, to figure out how much the team is discounting and whether we're holding strong on this measure or not. So this is the cool part of the trend line. And then here there is this goal chart that allows you to look at specific periods and for a specific location and select a specific month. You want to know how you're doing month to date, or you want to know how you did last month. All you have to do is just come here, and this information is all at your fingertips. You could see your run rates, you could see your last year period, and you can see your year-over-year growth for a specific location or for your entire company. And there's a lot of other stuff, cool stuff that we have here, the monthly hours allocated, and you're seeing that lively update over every day so that you're able to manage your budget when it comes to your payroll and so much more in terms of having this, really all of that information at your fingertips. And then here we have what we call cards, and the cards are pretty useful. If you want to have all of your KPIs, the ones that you really track and measure, all in one place, you're able to do that here. You can collect it from both your point of sale system or your carrier system, combine them and all have it at the same time. And the same thing with everything else. One of my favorite that I also look at is a weekly trend report, where it has the ability, it shows you that how the weekly movement based on a specific period that you're selecting, for this specific location. I'm able to see a period from June 1st through August 31st. Well, this location is improving on basically every measure that I monitor, except for productivity per door. You know, they're able to improve their gross profit, but their productivity box per door dropped, and that means that they were able to improve the quality of their of every box that they're selling. And you could see that here, they improved the quality by 10%, and they improved their productivity by changing the scheduling and by optimizing scheduling. They improved that productivity. So, you know, even though the gross profit per improved by 3%, the gross profit per hour improved by 20%. And this is largely due to optimization of payroll hour and the scheduling. Their activation percent improved, and their GAPO, an internal measure that we use here at CP4L, also improved by an amazing 50%. And they're holding down the floor with ensuring that they're reducing their discount per box, and their accessory attach rate is improving. So these are the things that I like to see. And if you actually, and this is versus last year, this takes the same period of the previous year, and you could change that into, if you want to see even from the March 1st in that number, all of that changes. As you'll see, that number dropped, which means that their improvement sort of began in the second quarter. And really, you could do that with company-wide, a location, you could slice and dice. Another cool thing that I like to look at is district comparison, where I am able to select 2 of my districts and then select a measure that I really care about deeply, and I want to compare apples to apples and see how that movement changes over time. And here is the average of both lines. So for example, I want to see how both districts are doing on APO. Are they moving in the right direction? Is somebody outperforming the other person? How about margin, accessory margins? I like to keep my accessory margins above 80%. Is a district discounting more than the other district? Same thing with gross profit per box. I like to look at that. What you want to see throughout your company or throughout your locations and district, reduce variability between these trend lines. That means that you're really monitoring and you're optimizing operation across the board. Service fees per opportunity, again, you could also do that, and you see, look at that. They're kind of moving in the opposite direction. There's this fork in the road, and it tends to converge as you're looking at it. And this is for a district comparison. I could select, you know, one district. I like to just look at 2 districts at a time, but you could add 3 districts, and then you'll see that number and how that changes. And we have it for the location. So I want to look at 2 locations, and I want to see how their productivity, how their GAPO is improving, or how their APO is changing over time. And you're able to really manage from the front and be able to look at your team and say, you know, why is this store improving in, you know, 2 stores within the same district? Why are they improving their gross profit per hour? And you can actually do it on an employee level. You'll go into the same location, and then you could go into gross profit per hour and then ask the employee, you know, why is your productivity per hour $5 or $10 less than your peers, even though it's in the same store? And there are other great things that we have built, percentile ranking. We rank employees based on their class of store that they operate in. So you're able to look at a specific employee and then see how they're doing and where they're headed. And then we have also ranking of our stores. We built and developed our own ranker, and you can also calculate the bonus for your district managers, and that information is live and updated. You're able to calculate that and see it for a specific month or in how does that move over time. So that's for the sales reporting and the sales dashboard segment. We also have, I really like the scientific method of trying to figure out where the money is going, especially as it pertains to spending advertising money. You know, there is a famous saying in the advertising world that I know advertising works, but I don't know which half of it works, or something along those lines. That if somebody puts $1,000 in advertising, they know that it works. Half of it is getting ROI, but they don't know which half. I like knowing which half, or I like to know exactly how a specific program that I'm deploying in a specific in specific areas, that I'm getting the return on investment that I am seeing. And this is what you could do, is that you could create a dependent variable and a control variable group, and you park all of your dependent stores or your control groups, and then you could pivot your period of comparison, your gross profit percentage movement. You could pivot it to a month. So in this example, I am pivoting everything into March of this year, which means that everything else, all of these months before or after that I'm selecting, they're going to show me the percentage movement between these months and how it looks for March. So this kind of tells me that the control group dropped in business by 14% in April compared to March, and then the dependent group dropped by 30%. So the control group held stronger, and I can change that number to, you know, let's say that I want to pivot that to, instead of March of this year, I want to pivot that to December, and you'll see how that you'll see that number and that movement changes. And this is really the beauty of being able to identify those systems and then look at how you're able to see and how that control variable and where your money is going. Because I hear it all the time that, you know, people change and make a different changes in the way that they're doing things, and they say, you know, well, things improved by 5%, 10%. How do you really know if you have not controlled and you haven't created a dependent variable and a control variable to be able to see the differences? How you're going to be able to know? You're not really going to be able to know. And let's say that I just want to look at a specific month over another month. So let's say that I want to just compare, I don't know, you want to compare how June is doing versus July, for example, of this year. You can take a look at it and then sort of see that in the second period of July, that, you know, July had a 14% lift compared to, and then you can see how the control group versus the dependent group is behaving. This is what I like doing when it comes to figuring out the differences and how the ROI. Really, anytime you want to test out a new comp, anything that you want to test out, you create two groups, and this is how you're able to track it. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.